About Tom Brady, if the New England Patriots, specifically Bill Belichick, if he were treated better by Bill Belichick and not treated as just somebody that, you know what, you're just another player, as opposed to a six-time champion, the quarterback who has led this franchise to 9 Super Bowl appearances over the last 19, 20 years. If he was treated as such, I don't believe that Tom Brady would be departing from the New England Patriots for next season.
For nearly 20 years, the New England Patriots didn't just win games, they controlled the league. Every season felt predetermined. Different players, same ending. Tom Brady, Bill Belichick, another deep playoff run, another banner, and then almost without warning, it all disappeared. Not slowly, not gracefully, it collapsed. Most fans were told this was inevitable. That dynasties age out, that quarterbacks decline, that systems get figured out. But what if that explanation was too convenient? What if the Patriots didn't fall because time finally caught them, but because something inside the building quietly broke first? The moment Tom Brady walked away, the league treated it like a clean breakup. A legend chasing one last run, a franchise ready to turn the page. But behind closed doors, that departure triggered a chain reaction nobody publicly acknowledged at the time. Power struggles, rushed decisions, ego clashes, and a franchise that suddenly had no margin for error. What followed wasn't just losing, it was confusion. Quarterbacks shuffled in and out, coaches placed in roles they were never meant to hold, public comments that stunned former players, and a locker room that went from feared to questioned almost overnight. Then came rock bottom, 13 losses, a rookie quarterback thrown into chaos, a head coach gone after one season, and a fan base forced to ask a question it hadn't asked in 2 decades: do the Patriots even know who they are anymore? That's when the organization made a move that quietly changed everything. Because what happened next wasn't a slow rebuild, it wasn't patience, it wasn't—
Kind of hurt for those guys because they call them soft. They're not soft, but they were the best team in the league last year against the run. And those guys went out there and did it, even though we couldn't score many points offensively. So I don't know. I feel bad for the defensive players on that one because those guys, that's a tough.
Wasn't waiting for the future. It was aggressive, calculated, and to many around the league, completely unexpected. And now, after years of dysfunction, the Patriots are winning again. The only question is, are we watching a true return to power, or the most deceptive resurgence the NFL has seen in years? By 2018, the New England Patriots still looked untouchable on paper. Another winning record, another playoff berth, another chance to add to the dynasty that had dominated the NFL for nearly 2 decades. But beneath the surface, the first cracks were starting to show, subtle at first, almost invisible to fans who had grown accustomed to perfection. Tom Brady's numbers weren't alarming for most quarterbacks, but for a team built on razor-sharp precision, his 88 passer rating and 60.8% completion rate were whispers of concern. The system that had once felt unstoppable was quietly straining. Inside the building, tension simmered. Brady wanted more influence over personnel decisions, to have a say in shaping the team around him. Belichick, famously rigid and unyielding, refused to bend. What had been a partnership defined by mutual respect and shared vision for nearly 20 years was beginning to fray. Analysts at the time shrugged it off. Dynasties don't crumble overnight, but the signs were all there. It wasn't just about one quarterback aging. It was about a culture that relied on unquestioned alignment suddenly facing quiet dissent. The cracks started small: miscommunications in practice, minor disagreements over play calling, off-field whispers about the quarterback-coach dynamic. No single moment seemed catastrophic, but the pattern was emerging. The league that had grown used to predictable postseason dominance began to notice subtle inconsistencies. Every snap Brady took seemed slightly less sharp. Every defensive miscue became magnified in hindsight. Then came the wildcard loss to the Tennessee Titans, brutal, unrelenting, unforgettable. No touchdown passes, just 209 yards and a late interception. For the first time in 10 years, the Patriots exited the playoffs earlier than anyone expected. But this wasn't just a game. It was a signal. The fortress that had felt untouchable suddenly seemed vulnerable. The same system that had defined modern football for 2 decades now revealed its limitations. Questions about the quarterback's role, the coach's approach, and the very identity of the team began bubbling in locker rooms and analysts' discussions alike. Some fans believed that if the organization had treated Brady with the respect befitting a 6-time champion, the dynasty might have lasted longer. Others claim it was only a matter of time before even the most precise system showed cracks. But one thing was clear: by 2019, the Patriots were no longer the untouchable juggernaut they had been. The first fractures in the dynasty had appeared, and they would only widen in the years to come. When Tom Brady shocked the league by signing with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in March 2020, the reaction was seismic. For fans, it was a gut punch. For analysts, it was a paradox wrapped in a question. Had the Patriots been powered by a system or by Brady himself? The departure didn't just end an era, it tore open debates that had been simmering quietly for years. Suddenly, every analyst, every former player, and every social media pundit had a theory. Some argued Brady was the ultimate system quarterback, proving he could succeed anywhere. Others claimed Belichick had built a dynasty that could survive without him. The truth, as always, was somewhere in between and messy. The timing couldn't have been more dramatic. Tampa Bay, a team that had limped along in the postseason for years, suddenly became the perfect laboratory. Brady didn't just fit in, he dominated. 40 touchdowns, 4,633 passing yards, a 102.2 passer rating, and a Super Bowl ring in his first year away from New England. Overnight, the conversation flipped. Patriots fans were forced to confront a painful reality. The franchise that had once defined consistency was suddenly a question mark. Did the system really carry them, or had the quarterback been the linchpin all along? Meanwhile, New England's internal dynamics became a silent frenzy. The front office scrambled to fill the void, drafting a quarterback in the first round for the first time since 1993, a break from tradition that highlighted desperation more than strategy. Veteran players tried to shoulder the burden, but no amount of experience could immediately replace a figure who had commanded respect for nearly 20 years. Reports emerged of tense meetings, discussions over personnel changes, and disagreements that would have seemed unthinkable during the Brady-Belichick era. Fans didn't just notice the losses, they noticed the tone. Social media lit up with debates over leadership, loyalty, and franchise identity. Analysts speculated whether the Patriots were in a rebuild or a collapse, and the league itself seemed to watch with curiosity. Some believed the departure marked a clean slate. Others feared it was the beginning of a prolonged decline. What was undeniable was that New England's aura of inevitability had vanished. Brady's exit wasn't just a free agent signing. It was the spark that revealed fractures long hidden behind championships and media narratives. The Patriots had lost a quarterback, but more importantly, they lost the stability that had defined 2 decades. Every draft, every coaching hire, every roster move was now magnified under a microscope, and every failure felt like proof that the dynasty's legacy was suddenly vulnerable. After Brady's departure, the Patriots faced a brutal reality. They no longer had a quarterback who could carry the team, and the system that once thrived on precision suddenly looked fragile. Enter Cam Newton, a former MVP whose career had been marred by injuries, inconsistency, and questions about whether he could still perform at an elite level. On paper, Newton brought name recognition and experience. In practice, the results were a harsh wake-up call. The 2020 season became a perfect storm of misfortune and misalignment. COVID complications forced key players to opt out, leaving gaps in the roster and preventing continuity on both sides of the ball. Newton showed flashes of his old brilliance, but the offense lacked rhythm, explosiveness, and identity. For the first time in 2 decades, New England stumbled to a losing record. The psychological impact was immediate. Players accustomed to winning suddenly questioned their ability to execute, while fans and analysts debated whether the Patriots had become a cautionary tale rather than a model of consistency. Meanwhile, the league took notice. The Buccaneers' dominance, powered by Brady, only deepened the contrast. Tampa Bay dismantled opponents while New England struggled to maintain even basic cohesion. Media narratives pivoted quickly, questioning whether the Patriots' success had always depended more on Brady than Belichick's system. Rumors swirled about internal unrest, disagreements over personnel, and frustration behind the scenes, all hidden beneath the veneer of professionalism that Belichick had once enforced so flawlessly. The losses piled up, but the symbolic damage was worse. For nearly 20 years, New England had been synonymous with certainty. Playoff appearances were expected, not celebrated. Now, every defeat felt like a dramatic reversal of fortune, and every misstep amplified scrutiny. Ownership pressure intensified, and the organization faced a choice: settle for mediocrity or risk bold moves to salvage the franchise. Newton's tenure revealed the deeper truth. The Patriots weren't just missing a quarterback, they were missing stability, identity, and leadership. The system could no longer mask gaps in talent or coherence. Rookie drafts, free agent signings, and coaching decisions suddenly carried weight far beyond their usual impact. The team wasn't just rebuilding a roster, it was forced to rebuild trust, culture, and credibility in the league's eyes. And yet, in the chaos, there were glimpses of potential. Newton's flashes reminded the league that talent could still emerge even in dysfunction, but flashes alone couldn't replace what had been lost. The Patriots' slide had begun, and it was clear that finding the right quarterback and restoring order would be far more complicated than anyone expected. After 2 turbulent seasons, the Patriots made a historic move, drafting Mac Jones in the first round of the 2021 NFL Draft, breaking a tradition that had stood since 1993. The decision sent a clear message: New England was ready to rebuild around a young quarterback. Analysts debated whether Jones had the ceiling to replace Brady's legacy, while fans cautiously hoped this could mark the start of stability. But entering the league as a rookie quarterback for a team still grappling with roster gaps and cultural unrest was anything but simple. Jones' debut season began under the careful eye of Josh McDaniels, who returned as offensive coordinator. The system emphasized short, conservative throws, limiting mistakes and easing the rookie into professional life. Initially, the strategy worked. Jones delivered efficient performances, completing passes at a remarkable rate and demonstrating poise in the pocket rarely seen from a first-year quarterback. The Patriots rallied to a 10-7 record, clinching a wildcard berth and signaling that the franchise might be finding its footing again. Critics began to cautiously tiptoe into optimism. Perhaps the post-Brady era wasn't doomed after all. But the first playoff game revealed the harsh truth. Facing Buffalo, Mac Jones and the Patriots were dismantled 47-17. Every structural weakness was exposed, an offense still learning under pressure, a line struggling to protect its young leader, and a defense that, while strong, couldn't compensate for offensive inconsistency. Analysts questioned whether Jones' rookie season numbers were inflated by situational success and a soft schedule, and fans quickly realized that potential alone would not bridge the gap left by Brady. The second season amplified the pressure. McDaniels departed once again, leaving offensive coordination in the hands of Matt Patricia, a defensive specialist with no history of play design. The results were disastrous: miscommunication, stalled drives, and an offense that lacked rhythm. Jones, once efficient and poised, began to regress. Interceptions rose, touchdowns fell, and the team slid to one of its worst finishes in decades. Every loss was a reminder of how fragile the Patriots' post-Brady experiment had become. Yet even amid the chaos, Jones showed flashes of franchise-level potential. Precision on certain throws, pocket awareness, and leadership glimpses suggested that with the right support and coaching, the Patriots could still build around him. The lesson was clear. The system alone couldn't win games, but a talented young quarterback, properly developed, could be the anchor for a new era. By the start of Mac Jones' second season, the Patriots' post-Brady experiment was beginning to unravel in ways that no one could ignore. The young quarterback, once efficient and confident, now faced mounting pressure from every direction: media, fans, and most importantly, within the building. Miscommunications plagued the offense. Drives stalled, mistakes multiplied. What had started as a controlled transition now looked like a full-blown organizational crisis. Off the field, the cracks were just as visible. Reports surfaced that Matt Patricia, a former defensive coordinator with no play-calling experience, was struggling to coordinate the offense. Belichick, ever the hands-on coach, reportedly interfered with calls in critical moments, creating confusion instead of clarity. Every snap became a microcosm of dysfunction: delays, misreads, and mismatched assignments that frustrated players and demoralized the locker room. Analysts weren't just critical of play, they questioned whether the Patriots still had an identity at all. The losses piled up, each more embarrassing than the last. A 38-3 defeat to Dallas and a 34-0 home shutout against the Saints weren't just statistics, they were symbols. The once feared Patriots were being dismantled in real time, and fans were witnessing a dismantling of culture they had long taken for granted. Social media erupted. Former players, longtime observers, and analysts alike voiced concerns about leadership, discipline, and the quarterback position. Amid this chaos, tension between coaching and the roster came to a head. Veteran voices clashed with new leadership, and defensive players, who had consistently performed at a high level, felt mischaracterized. The disconnect became public when criticisms leaked, showing that the blame for poor performance wasn't one-dimensional, it was systemic. The narrative was no longer about a young quarterback learning the ropes, it was about a franchise scrambling to regain coherence. By the season's end, the Patriots finished with one of their worst records in decades, confirming fears that the post-Brady era had entered a dangerous spiral. Mac Jones was eventually benched for Bailey Zappa, signaling that the organization's quarterback experiment had failed, at least temporarily. Meanwhile, scrutiny of Belichick's decisions grew louder than it had in years. The dynasty's legendary precision had given way to public embarrassment, and the once unshakable aura of the Patriots was now fractured and questioned across the league. Transition. At that point, even the unthinkable was on the table. By January 2024, the inevitable finally happened. Bill Belichick and the Patriots mutually agreed to part ways. ending a 24-year partnership that had produced 6 Super Bowls and defined an era. For the first time in decades, New England stood without its legendary coach and a stable franchise quarterback. The very foundation that had made the team synonymous with dominance was gone, leaving the organization exposed in a league that had long respected its consistency. Ownership, led by Robert Kraft, faced an unprecedented challenge. How do you replace a figure who was more than a coach, a cultural architect, a system designer, and the ultimate disciplinarian? Enter Jard Mayo, a former Patriots linebacker promoted to head coach at just 38. Mayo had strong roots in the organization and a reputation as a defensive leader, but he had never been a head coach at any level. The hire sent a clear signal: urgency had overtaken readiness. Analysts questioned the gamble immediately, and fans braced for turbulence. The roster was still fragile. Drafted rookie Drake May was expected to become the long-term answer at quarterback, but the team opened the season with veteran Jacob Brissett as the starter, leaving May sidelined for the first 5 games. When May finally took over, the results were inconsistent. Despite flashes of brilliance, poise in the pocket, improvisation under pressure, and a game-tying touchdown against the Titans, the young quarterback was operating behind a collapsing offensive line and a depleted receiving core. Mayo's leadership style drew instant scrutiny. Publicly calling the team soft after a loss ignited national backlash and revealed a widening disconnect between coaching perception and on-field performance. Former Patriots players defended the roster, highlighting a defense that had been among the toughest in the league despite offensive struggles. The comments, widely criticized, painted a picture of a franchise drifting without direction, a far cry from the disciplined, focused culture of the Belichick era. By the end of the season, New England finished 3-13, marking consecutive losing campaigns for the first time in franchise history. Mayo was dismissed after just 1 season, the first single-season coaching termination under Kraft, leaving the Patriots at a crossroads. The organization had gambled on youth, culture, and familiarity, only to see the plan collapse under pressure. The departure of Belichick, combined with quarterback instability, had exposed a sobering truth. The Patriots' long-standing formula for success was fragile when the pillars of leadership were gone. The franchise faced one of its darkest chapters, forced to rebuild not just a team, but an identity, while the league watched closely, aware that even the most dominant dynasties can fall when leadership is lost. Transition. And just when it seemed like rock bottom, a familiar name re-entered the picture. After 2 consecutive losing seasons and the dismissal of Jard Mayo, the Patriots faced a pivotal moment. Robert Kraft needed a coach who could restore identity, culture, and results quickly. Enter Mike Vrabel, freshly released by the Tennessee Titans after a 6-11 season. A former Patriots linebacker and 3-time Super Bowl champion, Vrabel carried instant credibility. He knew the organization's championship DNA, commanded respect across the league, and had the leadership presence to stabilize a franchise teetering on chaos. Vrabel inherited a rare advantage: roughly $131 million in cap space, the highest in the NFL. The Patriots leveraged this aggressively, making calculated roster moves to support their young quarterback, Drake May. Their first marquee signing was Stefon Diggs to a 3-year, $69 million contract, giving May an immediate, proven #1 target. They bolstered the offensive line with veteran tackle Morgan Moses and center Garrett Bradbury, creating the protection necessary for a young quarterback to flourish. The defense, which had struggled during the post-Brady era, received similar attention. Defensive tackle Milton Williams became the highest-paid interior defender in franchise history, signaling a renewed commitment to pressure up the middle. Edge rushers Harold Landry and Kivon Chasson, cornerback Carlton Davis, and linebacker Robert Spelling joined, instantly elevating all 3 levels of the defense. The draft brought in LSU left tackle Will Campbell, a controversial pick at the time but critical for blindside protection and offensive stability. Vrabel reinstated structure, discipline, and accountability. Practices were sharper, assignments clearer, and standards uncompromising. The results were immediate. The Patriots surged to a 10-game winning streak, remaining undefeated from Week 4 through Week 13. Drake May, operating with newfound confidence and protection, emerged as a legitimate MVP contender, throwing 3,567 yards, 27 total touchdowns, and just 7 interceptions. His 109.1 passer rating and 70.9% completion rate made it easy to forget he was only in his 2nd season. Even the defense matched this resurgence. Coordinated by Zach Auer, it delivered disciplined, high-pressure performances, including a strategic win over Buffalo, which showcased a restored ability to dominate games with structure and precision. While the schedule featured softer opponents, 11 games against bottom-tier teams, execution was consistent. For the first time since the Belichick era, the Patriots looked like a complete team, blending youth, talent, and culture into a dangerous formula. The rapid turnaround under Vrabel demonstrated the importance of aligned leadership, strategic investment, and the careful nurturing of a young franchise quarterback. The Patriots were no longer rebuilding slowly. They were surging, reshaping the league's perception of what was possible after a dynasty's collapse. Momentum was in their favor, but the ultimate question remained. Could this resurgence carry into the postseason and reclaim the championship glory that once seemed inevitable? Entering the 2025 season, the New England Patriots weren't just a team recovering, they were a franchise redefining itself. After consecutive years of chaos, losses, and instability, the organization now combined youth, talent, and leadership in a way that demanded attention. Drake May had matured into a quarterback capable of carrying the offense with poise and precision. The offensive line, rebuilt through smart veteran acquisitions and a top draft pick in Will Campbell, finally provided the protection he needed. Stephon Diggs and M. Collins offered reliable, explosive options at wide receiver, giving May weapons that Brady's early years in Tampa Bay could only envy. Defense, long a hallmark of New England's identity, was no longer a patchwork. With Milton Williams anchoring the interior, edge rushers Harold Landry and Kevon Chaisson generating consistent pressure, and Carlton Davis patrolling the secondary, the Patriots returned to a form reminiscent of their championship years. Discipline, accountability, and structure, hallmarks of the Belichick era, were reinstated by Mike Vrabel, whose leadership ensured that every player understood expectations. The results spoke for themselves: a 10-game winning streak, top 5 ranking in points allowed, and an offense that finally matched its defensive dominance. Drake May emerged as a revelation. With 3,567 passing yards, 27 total touchdowns, and just 7 interceptions through 14 games, he demonstrated advanced decision-making and elite pocket awareness. His completion percentage of 70.9% led the league, and a passer rating over 100 in nearly every game proved consistency, not flashes, were driving this resurgence. Even when adversity struck, like Will Campbell's knee injury, the offense adapted, showing depth and preparation that hadn't existed in the previous post-Brady era. Yet the story isn't just numbers. The Patriots have recaptured their culture, fostering a mentality of accountability, discipline, and resilience. Players have bought into Vrabel's system, and young stars like May understand that success is earned every snap. Analysts now consider the Patriots legitimate contenders in the AFC, and fans, once skeptical, are energized by the rapid turnaround. Social media and sports media alike have taken notice, debating whether this resurgence could mark the franchise's first genuine post-Brady dynasty rebuild. Still, questions remain. Can New England translate this momentum into playoff success against elite competition? Will Drake May continue his rapid development under pressure, or will inexperience show when it matters most? The franchise has made all the right moves, coaching, strategic spending, and drafting, but the playoffs are the ultimate test. For now, the Patriots stand as a testament to what's possible when leadership aligns with talent and purpose. A dynasty's shadow may linger, but the new era is unmistakable. Whether this momentum turns into a championship remains to be seen, but one thing is clear: the Patriots are no longer just surviving. They are re-emerging, dangerous, and very much a team to watch. Transition ending hook. Some believe they can reach the Super Bowl, others wonder if history will repeat itself. The question is no longer if the Patriots can win, it's how far they'll go. As the 2025 season unfolded, the New England Patriots' resurgence captured the attention of the entire NFL. A 10-game winning streak, a top 5 defense, and an offense led by Drake May that seemed almost unstoppable made headlines. Fans and analysts alike began to whisper about a franchise potentially reclaiming its former glory. But amid the optimism, a question loomed large. Was this surge real, or simply an illusion built on favorable circumstances? On one hand, the numbers were undeniable. May had matured into a quarterback capable of reading defenses under pressure, completing 70.9% of his passes and throwing 27 total touchdowns with only 7 interceptions through 14 games. Stephon Diggs provided a true number 1 option, while M. Collins and the offensive line created stability for May to operate efficiently. Defensively, the Patriots' additions Milton Williams, Harold Landry, Carlton Davis, and Kevon Chaisson had transformed a previously inconsistent unit into a disciplined, high-pressure force. At first glance, it looked like the Patriots had rebuilt every piece perfectly. Yet skepticism was warranted. For one, the schedule played a significant role. 11 of the Patriots' games came against teams in the bottom 12 of the league, raising doubts about how this team would perform against elite competition. Even with talent and strategy in place, dominating weaker teams doesn't guarantee postseason success. Critics pointed out that the streak could mask underlying vulnerabilities, an offense still learning to fully trust its young quarterback, defensive assignments occasionally breaking down under pressure, and a team culture still adapting to Vrabel's leadership style. There was also the human factor. Drake May, though impressive, was only in his second NFL season. Injuries, defensive scheming, and playoff intensity could expose inexperience that hadn't yet surfaced. Even the defense, while strong, was still integrating multiple new starters, and small miscommunications could be catastrophic in high-stakes moments. Analysts speculated that the Patriots' true test wouldn't be regular season wins, but whether they could maintain this execution against top-tier teams in a win-or-go-home environment. Still, some signs suggested this was more than luck. The team executed with consistency, displayed resilience in late-game situations, and demonstrated a capacity to adapt when adversity struck. Vrabel's leadership reinstated accountability and structure, allowing players to maximize their potential. The synergy between coaching, roster talent, and a developing franchise quarterback hinted at a genuine rebuild rather than a temporary spike. Ultimately, the 2025 surge left the league divided. Some view the Patriots as legitimate Super Bowl contenders, while others caution that the winning streak could be fragile, built on soft matchups and early momentum. One thing is certain, the NFL's perception of New England has changed dramatically. The dynasty may be gone, but the new era is impossible to ignore. Transition ending hook. The real question is if the Patriots can win games, it's whether they can win when it matters most. After years of turmoil, losing seasons, and quarterback instability, the Patriots' 2025 resurgence under Mike Vrabel and Drake May isn't just a story of wins on the scoreboard. It's a blueprint for how a franchise can rebuild faster than anyone expected. The combination of strategic spending, smart drafting, and a young quarterback stepping into the spotlight has done more than improve the record. It has restored belief in a team that once seemed lost. The Patriots aren't simply surviving the post-Brady era, they're defining what a rapid, high-impact turnaround can look like. Drake May's development is central to this story. In just 2 seasons, he has transformed from an untested rookie into a quarterback capable of handling pressure, reading defenses, and leading a team with poise. His 70.9% completion rate, 27 total touchdowns, and 109.1 passer rating are more than numbers. They reflect a player who can carry an offense through adversity. With reliable targets like Stefon Diggs and a strengthened offensive line, May finally has the support to execute consistently, something missing for years after Brady's departure. On the defensive side, the Patriots have reestablished dominance. Milton Williams, Harold Landry, Carlton Davis, and Kevon Chaisson have brought back the aggressive, disciplined identity that once defined New England. Unlike previous seasons, the defense now operates as a cohesive unit capable of winning games even when the offense faces challenges. Vrabel's leadership has restored accountability, structure, and physicality, elements that had been eroded during post-Brady uncertainty. Yet the rebuild isn't just about talent acquisition or statistics, it's about culture. After years of miscommunication, failed hires, and fractured locker room dynamics, the Patriots have created an environment where players understand expectations, buy into a system, and execute with discipline. This combination of culture, coaching, and talent is what allows young stars like Drake May to thrive while keeping the team competitive week after week. Of course, questions remain. Can this momentum survive the playoffs? Will May continue to grow under pressure? Can the team translate regular season success into postseason dominance? History warns that early surges can be misleading, but unlike past rebuilds, this Patriots team shows depth, strategy, and consistency, a far cry from the chaos of the post-Brady years. Ultimately, what this rebuild means is clear. The Patriots have moved from rock-bottom uncertainty to a legitimate contender in a remarkably short time. The dynasty shadow may linger, but a new era is emerging, one defined by youth, talent, culture, and leadership. Whether they will win a Super Bowl remains uncertain, but they have proven that even after collapse, a franchise with the right pieces and vision can rise faster than anyone imagined.